What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pod Scum. This right here is the podcast where we dive into the deepest, darkest, murkiest waters with a plethora of legendary guests. I am, of course, your host, your master of ceremonies, the numero uno scumbag, Rex Ruger. That's Rex with 3 X's. Ladies know why. You might also know me as AKA the King of Sleaze, AKA the Hair Metal High Priest, and most importantly, AKA Diamond David Lee Raw Jr. That's right, folks. Take a look. Undeniably, I am the son of glam, the front man for the band. Just smoked several grams, got a million fans. I'm your ice cream man, Mr. Wop Bop Loo Bop Wop Bam Bam Shazam. Hot damn! Look out! I'm feeling good tonight, and more importantly, I'm looking good tonight. What do you say, Pops? Keith? That is, of course, Mr. Keith Hernandez Puppet right there. Number 17 in your program is number 1 in your hearts. Keith, got a little cocaine remnants in your stash there. If you're looking at these luscious locks and you want the locks, you want the coif like Roth, get you some, kids. That's how we do it. This is, of course, the No Frills podcast. You don't get no frills because you get plenty of thrills, and that's looking at me. Plus, I'm too old to be fucking with technology. I get in here and I let you take a look and a listen to the master at work, and then we get down to it. Yes, sirree. We're going to get down to it tonight, too. We got a good one. Ooh, ooh. Football playing in the background. That's how Sundays ought to be. Week before Christmas. I don't know when this will actually air, but it is the week before Christmas. You are, of course, getting a sneak peek behind the curtain here as I invite my guests, because I am pathetic and putting no money into production or any of that shit. What you see is what you get. I'm rocking it old school. You know what I mean? It's what how the kids say nowadays, DIY. That's right. The hardest working man in show business doing it old school. It works. That's why I'm able to bring you this awesome content and still find a way to front numerous glam and sleaze metal bands up and down the eastern seaboard. Pops, how do we do it? Smoldering looks, lavish chest hair. Let's get one more look here before we get our guest in here. Admire those that nice Roth bone structure. And of course, if you would like to be the backing band, play behind moi, the second greatest frontman to ever do it, in a little glam sleaze passion project of mine called Love Sword, well, hit me up, because I'm still looking for virtuosos. And speaking of virtuosos, we're going to have to dive into our interview right now. No more fucking around. Let's get down to some Pod Scum action here. See if we can get him in this time, man. What do you think? Second time's a charm. We got you.
There you go, buddy.
Look at that, man. Hey, thank God technology's making everything so much fucking easier, man. Jesus.
Right.
Right? I don't think it's always necessarily the best fucking thing, to tell you the truth, man. I mean,
right. Mm-hmm.
Minnesota Pete Campbell, you got to be pretty happy now, really flying that Minnesota thing after yesterday's comeback, man.
What was that, huh?
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah. Are you a life? This is, of course, Minnesota Pete Campbell, Pentagram. We're going to get into how the hell you got mixed up with that Bobby character, man. He's a great guy, man. Awesome story behind his life, obviously. But you a lifelong Minnesota guy?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Born and raised.
What is it about Minnesota? Because I'm a huge Prince fan, man, and Prince never wanted to leave Minnesota. He always wanted to keep his roots there, man. What is it for you about Minnesota?
I don't know, dude. It's weird because every winter I want to leave.
Yeah, that's how it's getting to be up here. It's upstate. I'm in upstate New York, and it's getting around that time of year where, yeah, it's going to get dodgy for a couple of months.
Well, it was -7 was the high today.
Yeah, that's rough. That makes the bones hurt.
I don't know what I'd be able to do without it, though. You know what I mean? Like, I can't think of a winter not dying. You know, it's like you have to do it all the time.
Well, and I remember reading an interview with Prince, man. He said once, though, that the cold kept all the idiots out, too.
It's facts. It makes it tough. It makes it tough.
So if there's any truth to that, man, then Well, I don't know, man. I feel like New York State's got plenty of fucking idiots, though. I mean,
yeah, that's true. Very true.
and it's certainly cold here, man. So, so take me into just really quick. Reading your resume. You've been. Well, first of all, I want to ask about this last album here, the Me, Myself, and I one. Why a solo album right now?
It was during the pandemic, and we couldn't tour. Everything got shut down, so we just said, I built a studio at my house and just made my own music.
And so you played everything on it.
Everything, yep. Every last note. Absolutely.
Just like Prince would do. You fucking Minnesotans and your weird, freaky talent, man. Jesus. Kudos to Minnesota, man. Maybe there is something to this cold theory, man.
There's something in the water, maybe. I don't know. Something in the water.
You baptized yourself in Lake Minnetonka?
Oh, absolutely. Baptized, bud.
Yeah. So what's this album? First of all, love the album cover. I'm pretty heavily tattooed myself. The names on the hands, what do those mean?
Oh, those are my daughters.
Okay.
They're my kids. Yep. So I put them on my hands so I can see them every day,
I love the Layla choice, man. I have a granddaughter who's the apple of my eye, and her name is Layla too, but it's with an E, Leyla. But so I have a very soft spot for that name, man.
Yes, and Uriah, the other one, I named her after Uriah Heep.
Yeah, nice.
So we put a Y in there, to make it more girly.
As if his life won't be tough enough as it is in today's world, right?
He's got a sweet name, so you'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean, well, you can look at it to the flip side of it, where you're toughening them up. I mean, the world's going to be harsh.
Absolutely.
It could be worse. He could be a boy named Sue.
There's that. Buddy.
So I understand, man, from stuff that I've read and just like bullet points and stuff that I have here, that you are a fan of the mighty Kiss.
Love Kiss. If it wasn't for Kiss, I wouldn't be playing music. Absolutely.
So when you make a statement like that, if it weren't for Kiss, I wouldn't be playing music. Like what was it for Kiss that first captured you? Some people it's the music, or it's the stage show, or it's the costumes. What was it that got its hooks in you with Kiss?
It would have been, I have an older brother, and his room was all Kiss when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what the fuck Kiss was. I had no idea. And then I remember opening up Alive 2 and seeing that all the fire and the gatefold, and I said, "What is the music? Like what?" So then they became like my X-Men. Like all my friends had comic books, and your Batmans and Supermans, and I had the Spaceman, the Catman, and I was just taken ever since, man. They blew my mind. It's like I want to do that. That's what I want to do. So
it was really just like the whole, all the pageantry kind of just balled together, just kind of lured you right in. The artwork, the costumes, all of it.
Everything, even the music, man. I mean, keep it simple, stupid. You know, but it's classic tunes. I mean, it's great. I love it. I've literally fist fought people for saying that they suck.
Yeah.
So.
Well, so I'm interested to get your take on what because obviously here in the last year, Vince Neil, and rightfully so, has taken a whooping with some of the unprofessionalism he's exhibited on stage. But also Kiss are one of the people that have kind of been kind of caught some of that shrapnel too, with the backing vocals and all that kind of stuff. But you give those guys a pass when they get to a certain age and they're like legends, man. It's more of going to see the whole show, though, right? You're not expecting to hear Kiss like they sounded in '77.
Absolutely. No, you have to give them a pass. I mean, good for them for still doing it. And Kiss will go on forever. There'll be like 4 new dudes in like 3 years. Just watch.
Do you like that idea? Because I did see Gene talk about that, where it could really be.
Idea. Yeah, I enjoy it because it should be something to do that. My daughter's 4 and she's obsessed with Kiss. So by the time she's 30, there'll still be Kiss.
As a drummer yourself, if it ever did become like, these 4 guys finally step down after a 20 or 30 year farewell tour, or however long they're going to truck this thing out for, if it all of a sudden did become 4 eligible guys, would you ever lobby for the job of drummer for Kiss?
I'm too old for that shit now, but I would.
You think so? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you're more what would be the hard part of keeping up, though? Like just how much you'd have to take it out and tour it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm done with all that shit. But I mean, I was in a Kiss tribute band for 10 years, man.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
So is is the fact that you play with Pentagram, is it just more because obviously Bobby is on in years or whatever? Is it just more of like a relaxed touring schedule where you guys just kind of go do some isolated dates and it's a little easier for conducive to family life?
And it's we're a family as the dudes, everybody in the band and all of our road crew and everybody. We call it dude's vacation. We don't even call it tour. It's like we're going on a dude's vacation.
You don't say that in front of your old ladies though, do you?
Oh yes.
Wow, brave guys, man, brave guys. So tell me, man, how do you come up on the radar of Bobby Liebling?
Well, I've known him for quite a while, man. I was living in Maryland many moons ago. I played in a band called 60 Watt Shaman out of Gaithersburg, Maryland.
Okay.
And obviously Pentagram's always been around. And then I got hooked up with Victor Griffin, the guitar player in Pentagram forever, since the early or late 70s. And I joined his band, Place of Skulls. So we would always kind of do things. So that was kind of my connection with Pentagram, was playing with Victor. And then they needed a drummer to fix the record. The last record we did, Curious Volume, the drummer quit halfway through the recording of it. So Victor called me and said, "You want to come and fucking redo these drums, man?" And I said, "What?" So I didn't hear one song. I flew down to Baltimore and learned. We had one rehearsal, and then I went right to the studio and redid all the whole drum tracks for the record. Wow. And then that's when Bobby says, "Well, you might as well just join the band." And I said, "Okay, sounds good." So that's been 8 years, man. 8 years since that.
Wow. I mean,
yeah, that's just kind of how it happened. I kind of got in just because I was there,
And when it's Bobby saying it, it's ironclad. I mean, shit. It's
right,
you're getting it right from the man himself. Had you obviously you say you go back with him for a while. What were your impressions of the documentary movie?
I mean, it's cool. I can't watch it anymore only because he's a different man now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I also did know him when he was that guy.
Yeah.
And I mean, 60 Watt played that one show where he didn't show up and then Joe kicked his ass off the stage. It's in that movie that said Doom over DC.
Yeah.
I was there. We played that fucking gig, man. And he was I thought he was the biggest piece of shit on the planet. But then 20 years later, I literally talked. How long did I talk to him last night? An hour and a half. Me and Bobby were on the phone for an hour and a half last night. He's my best buddy in the whole world. So I'm proud of him for getting his shit together.
And I was just it's speaking to that point. Yeah, ultimately it is a story with a happy ending, at least, which is good because he's an easy guy to root for sure.
Yes, and that's the cool thing about that movie is you're rooting for him the whole time. You can do it, dude. And then he fucks up. You're like, damn it, and then you can do it, dude. But then at the end,
it's like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back.
Absolutely.
2 steps. I know. It's like watching it's like we're watching he's like the Rocky Balboa of rock and roll. You're pulling for this guy, you know what I mean? Against all odds,
Right. The Brooklyn Brawler of wrestling, that's what he is. He's the jobber.
Right, the Brooklyn Brawler wasn't the guy that used to pat himself on the back, was he?
I think he was when he did one good thing. Yep.
He kind of gave himself a back pat. Yeah, I think I did read that somewhere, man. You're a pretty big wrestling fan. Now, old school wrestling, or are you following this more watered down stuff that they put out there today?
I enjoy the AEW, the new company in town.
Yeah,
new horse in town. I enjoy that because that goes back to the old school type of wrestling. But yeah, I'll watch it all the time. I'm a hardcore guy. A bunch of Japanese stuff. I love the Japanese stuff. But when there's blood and barbed wire and cool stuff like that.
Well, so were you watching it in the 80s? How old would you have been in the 80s?
Yeah, I remember AWA and in Minnesota, that's where all the Vern Gagne's and everybody started here, man. So it was always big. We'd always go to VFWs and Legion Halls and watch, Ken Patera and all these dudes back when I can remember being 4 or 5 years old.
Now, ordinarily, people who follow that kind of stuff, usually kind of rally around one guy. Who was your guy? Did you have a guy?
Back in the day?
Yeah.
back in the day, man, I love Jake the Snake. Jake the Snake
Yeah,
was the guy because he wasn't built, he wasn't like Ultimate Warrior huge, you know, he's just this guy that smoked cigarettes and put a snake on dudes.
yeah.
This guy rules.
And he's another guy, man, who had a really good like feel good documentary made about him,
Yeah.
where Diamond Dallas Page kind of dragged him, brought him back from the dead, so to speak.
Saved his life, man, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy, man. Who would have thought that fucking Diamond Dallas Page would invent some kind of yoga to like elongate your life?
Well, him and who was the other guy? Scott Hall. That was in that movie too. Yeah. Razor Ramon.
He passed away not that long ago, though, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah. Those guys were hitting it hard back then, though, man. Like the road stories that we hear when those guys.
Man. Yep, it was like they were rock stars. It was sex, drugs, and rock and roll, man. For them, and all they did was wrestle. But they all had, it was a different world. Definitely.
Well, a lot of those guys just they expire at a young age. They die young too. I mean, Hulk Hogan seems like he's mega old as a wrestler. He's probably only like in the 70s. I mean,
well, Ric Flair's still wrestling too, and he's 75 or something like that,
Yeah. Is he the best ever, man? It's always debated back and forth. I think Hulk did more to put wrestling, on the map as like an international thing, man. But I mean,
absolutely,
it's Hulk. Hulk's the right answer.
I think for bringing to make it a household name, absolutely.
Yeah. It's got to be the Hulkster, man. I mean, fuck, man. He was global, like international. I mean,
for sure. Right on.
Everybody knew that cat everywhere. I think they still do. I mean, a lot of it has to do, I think, with the, he's branded himself right with the bleach blonde hair and the Fu Manchu. I mean, he's very caricature-like, For
sure. And you can ask someone, just say, give me one wrestler, and everyone's going to go Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
It's like that's in your brain, or we're boxing. Give me a boxer. They'll say Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson, or something like that,
So when you start making this album and you're going to play all the instruments, man, and you're writing these songs as well, do you have a specific, like a creative process, like any kind of like rituals or a place you go to write, or, just any kind of like a routine?
Not really. I wrote almost that whole record on an acoustic guitar taking poops. That's what I did. Yep. Come up with a riff. Yep. I have a guy who used to have acoustic guitar right next to my shitter, man, right home. So I would just sit down.
Is that a good place for a guitar?
Absolutely, it is. That's for inspiration. Because you just sit there like an idiot, so you might as well do something. And then I'd go downstairs and I'd demo it. I'd record just some scratch guitar stuff. And then I'd always do the drums first. So I'd like hum the song in my head as I'm playing the drums, and then put all the guitars and shit over the drums.
Is this something in the rock world? Because, I'm not a professional musician myself. Is this something that's widely known in the rock world, man, that the people create a lot of music on the shitter?
I think so. It should be. I know Dimebag always had an amp and everything in his, right next to his toilet. He had a guitar and a 4-track recorder. So he'd do a bunch of demos while he's taking a shit. So
I wonder how much music has been made on a crapper. Like, is it enough to make its own genre, dude? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, crap rock or poop rock or anything. I mean,
right.
I mean, who knows what kind of masterpieces were written on a toilet, though? I mean, are we to believe that some of the greatest fucking musical, compositions of all time, like was somebody writing "Stairway to Heaven" on the shitter?
On the shitter. Well, you never know, man.
That would be an amazing story, man.
Keep it up there, you see.
So did you find during the lockdown in the whole COVID thing, did you find that you were like extra inspired or more like, like more of an abundance of creativity flowing out of you because you're kind of, like locked inside?
Yeah, it was a little of both because I mean, my entire livelihood was taken away from me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because we were touring hard back then. And then at the same time, you couldn't jam with your friends like at home because no one wanted anybody over and all this bullshit.
Yeah.
Which understandable, but so I said, well, I'll just play with myself, I guess. Like, because I always had riffs, but I needed to get it out. I couldn't jam. So I was like, I'll just jam by myself downstairs, man. Make a record.
Right, better than having a bunch of dudes coming over with masks on and shit.
It's just stupid, that's not personal. That's not rock and roll.
See, I work in healthcare, man. So now it's just become like part of my, being a nurse. It's become like just I don't think I'm ever going to go back to it, man. I almost feel like it's just going to be part of the uniform now from here on in. I don't know if we'll. There's no light at the end of the tunnel is the when they're going to ixnay the masks.
Oh, you mean having the mask on all times at your work?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Not fun.
No, it stinks. It sucks. But I mean, it's a different world, dude.
Yeah, sure. So with all these bands that you've been in, are you somebody who kind of likes to do you feel creatively inspired a lot? Like, do you feel like you've got to keep like busy? Like, do you like having, are you the type of guy who likes to multitask and have several projects going at once? Or do you like to kind of put all your focus into one project at a time?
My ADD doesn't let me focus on one.
Yeah.
So I have to be, I think I'm in like 4 bands right now or something. And 2 of them we've never even played yet. You know what I mean? But there's always something.
Bands on paper.
Yeah, on paper, it's going to take over the world. We'll see what happens.
If someone's got a band out there, man, he's taking offers. Just slide some paper over to him.
And I still do like studio work for stuff. I played on a couple records from other dudes that I've been in the band. They just send me the tunes and play the drums on it, and that's cool too. I just gotta keep busy, or I'll just go nuts.
Is there anybody out in your travels with Pentagram or like any of these other bands, man? Anybody that you've come in contact with, festivals or otherwise, whatever, where you've been a little starstruck, or do you not even get fucking starstruck?
Yeah, there's some. I mean, we've met some dudes where it's just, I mean, we played Hellfest in 2016 or something, and Blue Oyster Cult played before us.
Wow.
And we sat there going, this ain't right. Like, this is not right. Like, how the fuck does this work? And that was kind of cool because we got to like talk with them. It's like Buck Dharma, it's like one of my idols.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, and it's just such cool dudes. But then you also meet dudes who you just wish you'd never met before. It's just like, man, you're a piece of shit.
So you're speaking to the point where you've had your hopes dashed, like meeting somebody that you hoped would be a hero, or kind
Absolutely.
of like, yeah. And you've had
so
that.
I try not to do it now. Like if I see somebody, like we're playing Whacking this or next year with Uriah Heep, and I love Uriah Heep, and I'm like trying not to I'm gonna like stay away because I don't want to like Mick Box to be a dick.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
you don't want to destroy what's in your head, so to speak.
Right. So I'm just gonna sit there and fanboy away and and all that, but it's gonna be great. So I try to stay away from that stuff just because,
you got a mental picture in your head of just being pals with these guys and just being like, God, hypothetically, I'd meet him and he'd be just the sweetest guy in the world, and you don't want to tarnish that,
Right. I mean, Ace Frehley, another guy that I like met, and I wish I would have never met him. It's like you're fucking Ace Frehley. Yeah, but you're just I didn't like it. Wasn't a good meeting.
Does it make you more cognizant now too of touring? Does like having like family life, like how much does that play into how much you guys tour? I don't know what Bobby has going on currently in his personal life, but sometimes that changes the parameters of how long bands will go out for and how long they stay out for.
Yeah, we don't go out for no more than like 2 weeks at a time.
Yeah,
that's it, because we all have kids and and lives, and it just gets that way, and then you get burnt out, and it takes the fun out of it, and then it becomes a job.
Yeah,
I'm very blessed to my job. I get paid to do something I do for free, man. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't want drum. There was a time where I would look at my drums and like dread them. Like I would fucking dread my drums, because I just burnt. So we try to cut it in half, and it's been working out pretty good.
So and everybody else in the band is pretty much all comfortable working at that same pace too. Like, is that kind of like the parameters that Bobby sets out, or is that something where anybody in the band can kind of get together?
If it was up to Bobby, we'd be out 360 fucking 5 days a week.
Bobby doesn't want to be home, huh?
He doesn't want to be home. He just, but we all say, well, tough shit, dude. We gotta chill, and it just works out good. But everything's all good.
Maybe Bobby should get an acoustic guitar and just learn those Pentagram songs and just go out and do like the circuit himself. I mean,
I give him all the power in the world.
I don't know how well that brand of doom metal though really translates into the unplugged arena though.
I think we should try it though. I think it'd be kind of fun to try.
It might sound kind of dark though, because like the Alice in Chains shit worked really well on unplugged. Oh, I lost you there for a minute. You got stuck there. You frozen? Oh, there you go. There you go.
There it is.
Yeah. I mean, that stuff can work. That dark, that dark, sludgy music like that can work good acoustically.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Why couldn't it? I mean, are there bands out there that when you have time to sit and listen to music as a fan, are there any like you go back and like listen to, shit that's always been in your playlist, or are you ever getting a chance to discover any new bands? Or is anything out there that it's exciting you?
Oh, I love to me the coolest thing about touring is listening to all the. I watch every band, every opening band that plays with us, because you never know, man, who's gonna like be there. And I found a bunch of bands that I've never heard before, and they're just fucking great.
Yeah.
So I always try to sit right there and watch every fucking band. And I got 2,000 freaking T-shirts, from bands I've never heard before.
Yeah.
But it's just so cool, But
you go 5 years and never wear the same one twice.
Right, exactly. There's some haven't even worn yet.
Yeah. You got any kind of like in some pictures I've seen on the internet, you almost look like you correct me if I'm wrong here, but you take a lot of pride in like your own physical conditioning. Are you like a workout guy?
I do like to keep myself in shape. Yes, it's my job. It sucks to like play drums and not, be out of breath and fucking dumb. So I try to keep. I like to keep in shape. I'm 44 years old, and it's like I'm very proud that I look good without a shirt on.
There's nothing more, and there's nothing more on rock and roll than if you were playing Pentagram songs and you died of a coronary behind the drum kit. That wouldn't be very metal.
I don't think that'd be metal at all.
You can't keel over of a heart attack. You almost have to be in shape to be a drummer, though. I mean, that in and of itself has got to be quite an aerobic exercise.
It is. To me, I think it's the greatest because you're working every part of your body. You know what I mean? Like it's every muscle, even your fingers, every fucking thing on your body is getting worked out. So it's good, but you need to be in shape or it sucks.
So like when you look back at the and I don't know if Bobby ever talks about this, man, but obviously one of the big themes in the Bobby Liebling documentary was obviously like what could have been with Pentagram. You know what I mean? Like even though you've known Bobby for a while, but were you a big fan of the Pentagram music?
I did. I always liked Day of Reckoning. I remember having that record a long time. Was really cool. I dug it. And then when the First Days Here, the 70s stuff came out, that was fantastic. I mean, that was fucking great. So I was always a fan. I was a fan. It was always them and Candlemass and St. Vitus, the big four.
Yeah.
Trouble. I was always into that kind of shit. And I remember like seeing Pantera in like 96, 97, some shit. And Phil on the back of his shirt had this big Pentagram patch.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Phil likes fucking Pentagram, so they gotta be cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or Kirk from Crowbar always wearing a St. Vitus t-shirt or something. It's like, okay, these guys, they dig what I like,
That's a good endorsement. It's a good endorsement.
Absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely.
I think that's why the t-shirt has always been so synonymous with rock concerts, because you're more or less kind of selling a billboard.
That's
walking billboard.
Walking billboard, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, has there been bands that that have been on your bucket list, bands you always wanted to see live and haven't had the chance yet to see as a fan?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I got a few. I mean, but you just never know sometimes. I mean, being a huge Prince fan, I always thought I would have more time to eventually catch him, and it's like poof, and you're gone.
He was gone. Caught him a couple of times, man. He used to have parties at Paisley Park. Invite only. So I've been down there a couple of times. Pajama parties, so that you'd have to come in pajamas.
Yeah,
and the show didn't start until 3 a.m.
Yeah, he was a night out. Yeah,
it was just crazy shit. But I don't know. I mean, I've seen almost everybody I would want to. There's bands that aren't around anymore that I would have loved to see.
Right.
Too young for that shit, But I'm always just into finding someone new. I want somebody new, someone to blow my mind.
So what was your earliest recollection of like music? Like, what was the first really defining band that you really remember, like really kicking your ass? And
it was Kiss. It was Kiss.
Kiss,
yep.
Yeah.
Kiss
That was
and Uriah Heep. Because I remember my aunt had Look at Yourself from Uriah Heep, and it had that mirror on the front.
yeah.
I would look at myself in this fucking record and go, man, this is cool. And like Nazareth too was the first one. Hair of the Dog, that record was the first one. Shout the Devil. And when that came out, I was 5 or something. And I remember my brother. The first Wasp record was another one that blew my mind.
Yeah, and back then we were kind of led to believe that those bands were evil.
Right.
Wasp was supposed to be,
we are Satan's people, or whatever.
I heard them all back in the day. Yeah, I even heard the ridiculous Kiss was Kids in Satan's Service.
Yeah, yep.
I mean, what the fuck? Where did those or like Dio was really, really evil because of those, because
play Stairway to Heaven backwards, you're gonna kill your mom.
Yeah. Yeah, there has been a lot of crazy rock and roll myth, that's for sure.
Yep, Judas Priest, another band that I always loved. I mean, I always loved them. Thin Lizzy was a band I always dug as a child.
Judas Priest was one of those bands that got themselves in some hot water, though, man. There when they tried to pin those kids' suicide on them, though, too.
Right. Yep.
Another example of that, people reading too much into the music. I'm sorry, man, but if you're committing suicide, the music is the least of your problems.
Exactly. Right.
The last shit that was in your tape player, it did not start there. The seed wasn't planted from a Judas Priest song.
Yeah, or in a song that wasn't even theirs to begin with.
Right.
A cover song.
It wasn't even. So Ace Frehley ended up being a disappointment. Huh? That's too bad as a Kiss fan, man. Like were you let down a little bit? Have you ever had a chance to meet him again? Has he had a chance to redeem himself?
I would love to. I just think maybe he had a bad day or something, which is cool. That's fun. But it was just like ever since that, then I don't go out of my way to meet people that I like. You know what I mean? Like I won't go like, hey, fucking, I love you, man. Nothing like that, because I just don't want that feeling ever again. I just remember going, man.
How much did the Ace thing crush you? Like, was he like your guy in Kiss though too? He was.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't crush me; it let me down. I was just let down. But then I also know because it was at a festival we were playing, so I knew that it was like a rough day for him. It was and you're on the road, and it was like maybe just having a bad day.
Yeah.
But it really was like, man, well, fuck that guy. But then I felt bad, like, oh, he's just an old man.
He's a celebrity, man. He's not allowed to have a bad day, according to the paparazzi, right?
You can't have a bad day. You race freely. Every day should be fucking unicorns and rainbows, dude.
Yeah. So being a big Kiss fan, was there ever a point in time where you got them up on this big pedestal, obviously, but you looking back now objectively at their career, did you see any stuff that they did that you didn't like? Any missteps along the way? Did you like when they went like fucking sans makeup in the 80s or any of the?
I loved all that. I love
any albums let you down.
The only ones that let me down are the last like 3 or whatever, like the Sonic Boom and the Monster. That was garbage music.
Yeah.
but I love like Unmasked is one of my favorite records. Dynasty, The Elder. I love The Elder.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. All the stuff in the 80s was killer too, man. It's good. It's all good.
And is Gene's number of sexual conquests trumped up, or is that valid, you think?
I think it's valid.
Yeah?
I think it is. I'm gonna give it to him.
Because those guys weren't notorious junkies or guys like that. I think everyone's always looking for like, geez, they're rock stars. What's the addiction? What the addiction? Those guys, it was fucking.
It was Poontang, man.
It sure was. I mean, you don't got to look no farther than that. You know what I mean? There's a reason why there's no booze and drugs around, because there's broads everywhere.
Right, absolutely. And on him, he's such a control freak where he just needs to be in control, and I think he can control women. And that's like his mystery power or some shit.
Yeah.
Good on him, Only has two things that he knows of.
But now, you being such a big fan, do any of the other guys have they ever anywhere publicly gone on record of boasting any similar numbers? Because they were all touring together. It's not like any of them are that much better looking or worse looking than Gene. I mean, you would think they'd all be reaping the benefits.
You would think, and they probably did, but but Gene Simmons, he talks to hear himself talk.
Yeah, that's true.
So he's probably the only one that's going to brag and whatever. But I'm sure everybody got a little something, something. I mean, you have to. You're at Kiss.
Yeah. I mean, and plus Paul had like the lavish chest hair. That usually goes a long way. I mean, the guy's walking around with a bearskin rug.
Yeah, my mom was in love with him, man. She'd always tell me, yep, she was in love with him because of his hair, his hairy chest. I was like, you're a weirdo.
And who would have known, man? Who would have known though that these four Jewish guys, man? You know what the fucking key was though, man, is that, and it might sound corny sometimes, man, and correct me if you don't agree, man, but I think sometimes, man, if a band is not the most virtuosic players in the world, man, they went and created themselves a good shtick and a good gimmick, and they branded themselves and they wrote it the fuck out, man.
Absolutely, it's genius.
I mean, say what you want about any of these groups. I mean, some even like the Insane Clown Posse. You might scoff at their music, dude, but then here they are 30 years later into a career, I mean.
Yep. Guar, another band, I love Guar.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another band that it's just like they found their shtick and let's go with it. Ghost. What's going on now with Ghost?
Yeah.
It's like, I remember.
I mean, Slipknot's certainly a shtick. I mean,
I remember when Ghost was an opening band. They weren't, and then like a year later, they're fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
So they were just like a local opening band in Sweden. They were nobody.
I think sometimes people look at that as almost like, cheating or some kind of like, tomfoolery or like, what I mean? But yeah, sometimes though, that's the thing that gets you over the hump though and really makes you memorable. I don't know if Kiss would have been as memorable if we didn't get the makeup phase and they just appeared like they did in the 80s without the makeup. Maybe they would have just been just another hair metal band.
Well, right. Well, even in the 70s, I mean, can you imagine hearing Cold Gin without them in makeup? You'd be like, right. Okay, it's just a rock song. I mean, it's not that good.
Right. Right.
But it's just the whole the visual. It's every sense, all your senses wrapped up in one is what that band was, and it worked.
I would like to see somebody who really can just do like long math or whatever, though. Just really try to calculate out on a timeline. And maybe this is taking this way too fucking crazy, but I mean, just really thinking out hours and days and minutes and time spent in studio. You'd never really be able to log this, but to find out if Gene physically had enough minutes in his life to actually fucking fuck all these women. Unless he's having some quickies or he's counting. I don't know if he's counting oral or not, but I mean,
yeah, who knows? Who knows? I think it should be done. I think someone should be hired for that job strictly for
because
that
then
job.
I think you'd be able to you'd be able to quantify it a little bit more though, because just to throw like a number out there though, how long does Mr. Simmons go at a typical stroke section? I mean, if he goes an hour, then boom. I mean, there you have it. But I mean, it might not be that easy though.
But even an hour, I mean, we can kind of do. What did he say? 10,000? Was it 10,000 women?
Is that where he was? 10,000?
I think it was at 10 grand. So that's 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
If we just go with an hour.
I mean, you got to take away every day. He's got to be sleep X amount of fucking hours, work X amount of hours. Spend it. Yeah, huh?
So yeah, you're correct. So I don't know. I mean, it's he's quite the man.
I don't want to call bullshit on him, dude, man, because he's. I think the mere fact we've mentioned his name a couple times, we must owe him some money here.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is gonna get shut down anytime.
Yeah, I mean, he owns us. He probably owns us right now. He's probably buying us right now.
Speak. Yep.
Is there any truth to this whole? And maybe, and if I am, I apologize, man. Maybe I'm not up to where the story currently is right now. But this joining Gygax.
Yes. I was in Gygax for 4 or 5 years, man. 4 years.
Because I am a little late to the party, man, but I'm happy to say that because of, and I don't usually say a lot of good things about technology and what it's done for the music business, but I like going on my Apple Music thing, and if I search up a band, at the bottom there, it'll say, oh, it's like based on this, you might like this shit down here. And that's how I discovered Gygax, and it was only really within the past couple of months, but I'm thankful that I did.
Killer band. Yeah, I did. I played on second edition, the second record.
Okay.
Yep, that's the one I did help write on that. Yeah, that was good. It was a great band. I love that band.
Anything going on with them though, going forward though? I mean, currently.
Not that I knew of, because I stepped down because Pentagram's schedule was just crazy at the time, so I couldn't dedicate. And they're out of Ventura, California, so I would like fly to LA all the fucking time to be with them, and then fly to DC to be with Pentagram. So it was like this shit someone had to give, and obviously I'm going to stay with Pentagram, obviously. But so I don't know. From what I heard, they're on like a hiatus kind of deal. But hopefully there's more music because that shit's killer. That was one of my favorite bands I've ever been in.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Just really like high proficiency level players, and the songs were just great. And again, just like we said earlier, it wasn't reinventing the wheel, man. It was just good old fashioned fucking good rock and roll.
Yep. It's Thin Lizzy meets whatever, but everybody in the band are just great, dude. Like great players, like you said. Everybody, the guitar players, it's just unreal. So it was absolutely fun. My favorite band I've ever been in was those dudes.
So right now, you would say your main focus is pretty much just Pentagram, then.
As it sits right now, yep.
It's got a lot of your attention. And so what's Bobby? So Bobby crawls the walls when he's not able to be out on the road, huh?
He does, but he's got a new band too with Sonny Vincent. From what band was he in? He was in something that the bass players from Iggy and the Stooges. They're called The Limit. That's what they're called.
Okay.
Pretty cool stuff. It's just like old New York punk rock.
That's cool. Yeah, I can see Bobby digging something like that.
Dead Boys, The Dolls kind of shit. It's good stuff. So they just did their second record, I think, right now. It's not out yet, but it's good stuff. So he stays busy with that, while he's doing that. But
yeah, that's what the key is right there, staying busy, man.
Yep, and we're writing a new record, Pentagram record right now. So that we'll do something with that next year. We'll get a new record out. It's been 8 years since the last one, so.
But so you would say even though you did the whole multi-instrumentalist thing on the solo album, you would say that your meat and potatoes is drums, though?
Yeah, absolutely. I just played guitar because my brother always had one. So then I started, so I've been playing guitar since I was like 6 or something.
So I hate to ask the dreaded, and I always try to word it a different way. I hate to word it the influence way, man. But who are some guys as drummers, who's playing you love?
I love big band swing. I'm a big band swing dude. So like, your Max Roach and your Louis Belsons.
Okay.
Of course, Buddy Rich and Gene Krupa and those kind of cats. But I love that shit. But when it comes to like rock drumming, it's like Peter Criss, obviously, Eric Carr, but big Cozy Powell dude. I love Cozy Powell. Ian Pace, one of my favorite drummers of all time, Deep Purple.
Love that you mentioned Eric Carr, though. Rest in peace, the great Eric Carr.
Absolutely. Yeah, legend. He brought life to that band.
Yeah,
he absolutely did. So yeah, I like the big boom smash dudes, the big Mitch Mitchell's, Ginger Baker. It's still.
I like Ginger because he's just a fucking lunatic. That guy,
lunatic, but a killer drummer.
Yeah. I like a little bit of that loose cannon aspect to him, though, man.
Absolutely.
And Eric Carr brought character to Kiss, man. But I wonder if he ever stole any of Gene's chicks, though, man. I mean,
he might have. He was a good-looking dude.
Yeah, and I wonder if Gene ever shared the wealth. Like, I always wonder, like, how that went down, man. Because
the wealth, right?
I mean, what is Gene just? I mean,
and would they get pissed if he didn't? You see,
right?
I want to know.
Is he supplying the women to the other one, or is it every man for himself at the end of these shows, or is there just a bunch of women just kind of trucked into the back? I've heard of things like that happening. Where the band just comes off stage and goes back there, and just boom, there's chicks everywhere.
Right.
I feel like Gene probably would have had a sweetheart deal like that. He would have had somebody probably going out and just getting him a bunch of,
Yep. Go find me 10. You know what I like.
He's almost like that creepy guy, like at the end of that first Liam Neeson Taken movie there, that like crazy Arab on the boat just buying up females. Like,
right.
I very much see like Gene, one of those kind of guys, like, bring her to me, like
bathe her and bring her to me.
Well, did he ever marry Shannon Tweed, or did they just?
They're married now. Yep,
they've
been married for like 10 years or something.
I always thought that his one son there would inevitably become a rock star. Is he doing anything with music there? His boy?
I don't know. I think he had a band for a while, but I don't know. I don't keep up with the Simmonses.
For a while, the world was almost forcing us to, because remember he had the reality show for a while. You like when guys do that? Is that something that you'll follow as a Kiss fan, or does that go too far? Like you say,
I did watch it. Yep, I absolutely watched it every time it was on.
Yeah, I did too.
Mm-hmm.
I also watched a lot of the Brett Michaels Rock of Love too. I enjoyed that too. Back when Brett was trying to find poor Brett can't find love.
Oh, yeah, right. Poor guy.
Jesus, really tough to just have 30 fucking just perfect tens just brought into this big mansion. And Brett's poor Brett's God has cut some of these women and make a choice.
Him and Flavor Flav, you know, it's like
yeah,
the guys who can't find it.
some fucking charmed life these guys got. All right, man. So listen to this, man. I'm gonna throw you, and I don't listen. First of all, I want you to feel very privileged, man, because I only do this with the most good-natured of guests, man, and you're falling into that category where I feel very comfortable throwing you into what I like to call the pod scum furnace, okay?
The pod scum furnace.
And I feel like you can handle the heat, man. Now, there are right or wrong answers to these. Of course, I decide what they are, but just, don't think about them. Just give me answers, okay?
You got it.
Hardy Boys or Dudley Boys?
Dudley's.
Okay, and we might argue about some of these later, but okay. So I'm gonna hold your feet to the flame. I usually don't like to insert any personal ones, but I figured I would make you pick here, and I think I know where you're gonna go though. Paul or Gene?
Paul.
You're gonna go Paul, huh?
I'm gonna go Paul.
Okay. The more lethal finishing move, the Macho Man elbow drop or Hulk Hogan leg drop?
Elbow drop.
Yeah, to be continued. We're going to talk about that one for sure. The crappier rock name, Pat Smear or Bruce Cockburn?
Pat Smear.
That's not a rock and roll name, is it?
It's not a rock and roll name at all.
Bruce Cockburn is actually quite boss. I like that.
I think I like that. Yep.
Okay, settle it for us once and for all. Who wins, Steven Seagal or Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Van Damme all day long, baby.
Okay, and you're gonna have a gangbang with one of these female bands. Is it the Go-Go's? Is it the Go-Go's or the Bangles?
Bangles.
Right on. That's the correct answer. And for bonus points, obviously because of the lineage here, man, the better Van Halen era, Roth or Hagar?
I like them both, but I do. I'm a Van Hagar guy.
You are, huh?
I'm a Van Hagar guy.
He's looking down with a lot of disapproval.
He's looking at, he wants to kill me right now, doesn't he?
He's looking down with a lot of disapproval. Even Keith Hernandez puppet over there doesn't believe it either, man. He's got to go do an extra line of cocaine right now, man.
I just think the songs. I mean, I love David Lee Roth and Van Halen. I mean, it's fucking Van Halen.
It is,
but the Hagar stuff to me, I think they were better written songs.
Very melodic, yeah.
Yes.
A lot of power ballads and a lot of love going well.
It's like, let me ask you this.
Yeah. Okay.
Dio Sabbath or Ozzy Sabbath?
Yeah. This might be an unpopular answer, man. But in my mind, Dio does no wrong. I love the guy's voice. I love him. He's from right down the road in Cortland, New York. He's an upstate New York guy, man. I mean, all of 4'0" dude, but with that huge voice and just And I know Gene Simmons, who our favorite person in the world. It seems like because he's come up a lot, arguing about who invented the horns.
It was Dio.
I'm
going Dio. Yep.
Yeah. I feel like he's the first guy that I ever remember seeing footage of doing it first.
Mm-hmm.
And Gene's was a little more like the sign language. I love you, Spider-Man. I'm about to cast my web.
Yeah.
It wasn't the true devil horns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the same question as you. Is it that same answer, Dio?
Dio Sabbath. But my favorite Black Sabbath record is the one with Glenn Hughes.
Oh, okay. Really? Yeah.
Yep. 7 Star. I love that record. Eric Singer plays drums.
Yeah, he does.
On that scene. It was just fantastic, man. And that's Bobby Liebling's favorite record too. He's the only guy I know that he agrees with me. That's the best Sabbath record.
Really?
Yep.
So that makes you. So that's probably got to feel pretty good because Bobby, obviously, from seeing it in a documentary, not only a musician himself, but has a pretty good ear and a pretty massive, at least he did, vinyl collection.
Yeah, but I mean, to both of us, it wasn't a Black Sabbath album. It didn't sound like Sabbath. It sounded like something different. It was just under the Black Sabbath name. But it was fucking cool, man. It's a great record. Because it's so cheesy, it's awesome. It's like one of those where it's so bad it's good.
Yeah. Are there any musicians or bands or singers that you ever felt like you know, oh shit, this has got to stay my dirty little secret. I would never want anybody to know that I like these guys.
Yeah, there's a couple of them. Remember the band Firefall?
No, I can't say I do. Firefall?
Firefall, they had their hits where it was like kind of adult contemporary, like Just Remember I Love You, you know that song? Just Remember I Love You.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
That kind of, and Cinderella was one of their songs, Ballad, or whatever. And it was like, I don't want to tell people I like that band.
You are weak. Weak sauce.
Yeah, you get the sand out of your vagina, Campbell.
Yeah.
No, but I love it, man. They're fucking, I love that shit. Yeah, there's some bands out there that I keep to myself. Very much so.
Well, you know, in the neighborhood that I grew up with, you know, it was certainly cool to be a metalhead, and then kind of you had to just have like your little pop dirty secrets. But if they ever got out, for fuck's sake, you'd be crucified as
Michael Jackson. That's another one. I love. I adore Michael Jackson. You know, what I mean? Everything the man fucking touched is gold.
And there's probably
that's the Prince thing. You know, it's like that R&B kind of thing for being in Minneapolis and shit. But yeah, he's great.
So being a lifelong Minnesota guy, and because I am such a huge Prince nerd, I mean, he's like what? He's like God in that state, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, he did a lot. He did a lot for us here.
Yeah. Have you yourself gone to the Paisley Park tour?
Yeah, I told you we did. I was there for the pajama party one time.
Oh, I'm talking about like since he's died though.
Oh no, not since he's died. No,
because I heard they've walled up some parts of it and they closed off that elevator that he died in. And
right, no, I haven't been there. I haven't. No.
Were you very surprised?
Were
you very surprised by his death?
Yes, it was a shocker. It was kind of a like, what the fuck, really?
He's not the kind. Yeah, he's not the guy that I expected to be going, and certainly not anything drug related. He just always kind of seemed like the kind of guy that had his shit together.
Right. So I think it wasn't on purpose. I don't think he had a problem either.
Yeah.
I think he just like one too many.
Yeah.
What happens to a lot of people, but it's sad. I mean, it destroyed us here for a while, man.
Yeah. Well, Bobby in that documentary certainly looked like he had moments where he was pretty close and had some pretty harrowing experiences too, though.
You can't kill that fucking guy, though. Watch.
Yeah.
He's at the end of the world, it's gonna be cockroaches and Bobby leaving. That's gonna be the only thing that survives.
And maybe Mick Foley.
And Mick Foley. Yeah.
He might be there too. He might be there. He might be there, and Corpse Grinder's neck might be there. Right? I mean, that thing's pretty impressive too. But then again, so is Corey Taylor's, man. What do you make of these guys with the neck? All that from headbanging? It's pretty crazy, man.
Yeah, George Fisher. Yeah, George Fisher's neck is insane.
Epic. Yeah, it's like my.
We played with them in the Brutal Assault Festival, which was in Czech Republic. And I got to just talk with George for a while, but you just like he doesn't even have a neck.
I know. He's a massive dude.
Thing.
Yeah,
most sweetheart of a man ever.
Oh, he is. Yeah, I've met him. Yeah, I've met him backstage at a concert, and he was gracious enough to take a picture and chat for a couple minutes. But I don't know who the fuck in their right mind. And there are plenty of videos out there on YouTube where he gets pissed on stage, people throwing shit or disrespecting him. And I'm thinking like, pan the camera out to the guy that's doing this because I want to see what the fuck what he's all about.
And I want to give George like 2 minutes to fucking throttle this dude. Let him. Let him.
I mean, but the guy is an intimidating guy, especially like, you see him before the show. I saw him before the show. The hair was still back in a ponytail. But when it comes down and it's in his face and he's like all of 6'3" and he's a big, beefy guy and he's up there fucking singing about fucking somebody with a knife. I mean, it's insane. I mean,
the next song is called I Will Kill You, for Christ's sake. Leave it alone.
Yeah. He's not the guy. He's not the guy to be like fucking throwing pennies or bottle caps at. This is really worth your life. I mean, he's a scary guy. I mean,
he's scary, but he's a sweetheart, man. Absolute teddy bear.
Now, do you find a huge difference in when you do these festivals? I'm always fascinated by the huge difference in the European audiences as opposed to the American audiences. Man, do you see it, and what is the difference?
Absolutely see it. And I think the Europeans, they just appreciate music more than we do.
They're more chilled out. Yeah.
Yeah, but they appreciate the music. Like here, I think we take so much for granted.
Yeah.
Especially in music, but just in life in general, But over there, it's a big deal for an American band to fucking come to the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when are you going to see it again?
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's awesome. We spend almost all of our time over there.
And it's almost like they don't want to do nothing to fuck it up. Like you don't see a lot of riffraff and a lot of the bullshit you see happening at shit over here whenever we get a bunch of people
nobody's fighting in the pit. No one's raping chicks in the bathroom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it's a thing. It's like a party. It's not like you know what I mean? They don't make it this fucking stupid shit that we do.
Well, and they also know too that they could ruin it for the opportunity of it to ever come back again. Like
right? Absolutely.
You know, at one point, in the Woodstock '99 was pretty much 15, 20 minutes away from me there in Rome, New York, which turned into the it's the famous. They just made a Netflix documentary about
it. I watched that, man.
All the fires and the rapes and shit. And I was only there one night. I wasn't there the night that all hell broke loose, man. I was there the night before to see some bands, and but that was supposed to be the start of something where, like, we've got this big abandoned Air Force base. Like, shit, we might start doing these all the time. Mm-hmm. And of course, we have to go and fuck it up.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, they're not going to be quick to have us back here, dude. Like, those things are frowned upon, tipping over cars, raping people, and starting fires. Jesus Christ. Then you're wondering why we're not going to have another Woodstock again. And it represents a certain thing too that you're not going to get back. I think some of those old school hippie promoters were thinking, "Oh, we're going to have the same peace and love fest that we had in '69." But those, I remember seeing a lot of those guys in '99. It was when Korn and Limp Bizkit, and this isn't saying anything disparaging about those bands, but it was that backwards fitted cap frat boy assholes that all running around there.
That's exactly what it was. It's a different. Like,
they hit it on the head in the documentary.
I mean, even just the generation.
Yeah.
And look at those fucking guys now. Like right now, what are they doing? Like those kids. I mean, but at the time they were just kids and they were out doing their thing and they thought it was a big party. But still, they fucked it up for everybody. There'll never be another one.
I think one of those kids might be Hunter Biden. I'm not sure, but he very well could be. There's no proof of that, but I mean,
there's no proof. Yeah,
I'll just say, as long as I say alleged in front of it, that absolves me of having this thing this podcast fucked with it all. Because
good job. Well,
I've never been to Facebook jail. Have you been to Facebook jail?
I have, many years ago.
Really? What did you say? Do you remember what the comment was?
I don't remember, and it wasn't nothing bad, man. I didn't think it was anything bad.
Happy birthday, Bob.
Yep, you're out of here.
What the fuck did he mean by that? Guy's obviously a terrorist with those tattoos.
Obviously. If he said Bob and not Robert, what's he know that I don't know?
It's probably better you don't remember, man, because it obviously was a threat to national security. We don't need to dredge it back up again.
No, right.
It is pretty crazy, though, man. That like we're supposed to have all this fucking freedom of speech, and yet still, like every time I put the podcast up now, and I've got quite a lot of episodes up or whatever, but every time I put it up, I don't even fuck around anymore. I just go right for that thing that just says, no, it's not made for kids. That way I don't have to worry about it, about looking back and saying, oh, they might flag my channel. They might flag my page because shit, maybe we did fucking swear or tell some naughty anecdote or something in there, So that way I just cover my own ass, I mean.
It sucks, but that's what you have to do, man.
Yeah.
You have to, Even on stage and stuff, you got to watch what you say because someone's going to fucking take it the wrong way, and especially during like where everybody's canceling everybody, it's you just got to fucking watch your shit, and it sucks because we're fucking adults.
Yeah. And by the way, I am looking right now, still reviewing and really mulling over in my head the PodScum Furnace results, and I think I really like most of your answers. I especially like the Bangles one. Why did you say the Bangles over the Go-Go's? Were you one of those people with a Bangles crush of any kind?
I was, because that was the time when I was a kid. That was the 80s.
Yeah. I was in love with Susanna Hoff.
What's her name? Susanna
Hoffs. Yeah.
Oh,
I was.
Christ.
Yeah. I know those eyes. Those eyes and walk like an Egyptian.
That was my chick, man, when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. Love it.
Yeah. So when you guys get together and create new music now, like what's the process like when you get together? Like because you guys are so spread out, is everything online? Does Bobby write all the lyrics? Does anybody kind of take the reins with one particular thing? Is it pretty collaborative? You bounce ideas around? How does that work?
A lot of bouncing ideas, but we also everybody in the band are songwriters.
Right.
So like I'll write like, I'll have 2 songs and we'll come to rehearsal and I'll teach the songs. And if we like it, we'll pick. Or if you got an idea for this, we'll throw that in there. So we kind of, people come with tunes already done, and then we just kind of pentagram them up, just trying to change it. Bobby obviously writes all the words and all that, but so it's pretty good. I've got 2 songs for this new one. I think Greg's got 2 or 3, Matt's got a couple, and Bobby's got a whole head full of shit. So it's going to be good.
What does that mean when you say Bobby pentagrams them up, though, man? Like, what does that mean to you, man? What is it that Bobby does to a song that makes it vintage pentagram?
He can change it, like, literally by 1 note. He'll say, try it this way.
You're right.
And you go, okay, like, you dummy, what the fuck's that going to do? And then you go, oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
So even though he doesn't traditionally play an instrument, though, he's got an incredible ear for it, though.
Right. Yeah. And half of those tunes, man, he wrote. Like, he did write.
Right.
Oh, like he did. I mean, some of those riffs, the super cool riffs, man, those are all his.
And now, does he ever tickle your fancy with the Kiss story that was portrayed in the movie there? Where because for a Kiss geek, that's obviously a pretty cool little piece of music trivia, though. The Kiss was coming over and interested in trying to help get them signed. It sounds like.
Yeah, that's a true story. They did come over, and then Paul Stanley wanted to buy Star Lady, the song Star Lady.
Yep.
To put on his solo record, in the 78 solo record. But when he was going to do it, he wasn't going to give any credit to Bobby at all. It was going to be Paul Stanley wrote this song.
Wow. So Bobby didn't like that.
Bobby said no. Because if you listen to that song, I remember hearing that song the first time and go, man, that's a Kiss tune.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's fucking Kiss.
Yeah.
And come to find out, he really enjoyed it, but he wasn't going to give Bobby any credit. It would be like, Paul Stanley, I wrote the song. You sell it to me, it's mine.
Is it because he's the star child, so he has to write Star Lady? Is
maybe
probably in his mentality?
Well, no, we play it every night. We've been playing it every night for 8 fucking years, and every time I play it, you hear him singing it. Like you can hear Paul Stanley's version.
Yeah,
like in your brain, you're like, man, this would have been so cool.
is though as a huge Kiss fan, I know I said earlier about the missteps in their career, and you said you liked everything they done, but how about this farewell tour, though, man? Are they dragging this out too long, or do they keep going as long as there's still fans and people want to see it?
I've seen their farewell tour fucking 18 times in the last 18 fucking years. You know what I mean? Like, I was there in 96 when they quit, and fucking 2000 when it was it. The end, that was it. Who cares?
Yeah.
Let them go.
Let them go. Yeah.
But what's really funny is people can talk as much shit as they want about it, but every show's going to be sold out.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Good on them.
I guess one thing I don't like, I'm reading. Well, first of all, and it'll obviously still be topical by the time I get your episode up, because they're kind of just getting the whole thing started, it sounds like. But the big Pantera reunion, obviously, Bobby had a little bit of a history there with Phil Anselmo. Do you like this whole Pantera reunion thing? Do you like the guys that they got to fill the Abbott brothers spots? How do you feel about the whole Pantera thing?
That's a tough one. That's a toughy one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might get in trouble. So I'm just gonna say I don't know.
Remember, just say alleged.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly, I don't like
Allegedly, I don't like it. No, or just,
Okay. I think it's kind of silly that it all happened just, right after Vinny died.
Yeah.
Because he was anti all of it.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be cool. It's a cool tribute if it would have been a different name, like call it Cowboys from Hell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or something like that.
The music of Pantera. Yeah. Cowboys from Hell.
Cowboys from Hell. The music, like how Dio, they did Heaven and Hell. They didn't call it Black Sabbath.
Far Beyond Driven. They could call it a lot of things,
You know what I mean? But not have it Pantera. I mean, it's like there ain't no fucking way.
Yeah.
And I mean, but I love Zach. I love Charlie. They're all good dudes and they sound great. I watched the videos, but I'm just not hip on being a Pantera. You're not fucking Pantera.
Well, the one thing that I was that I had seen seem to be a reoccurring theme when they first announced it in the comment section was that it would be some kind of a cash grab. And initially I wanted to think, oh, that's probably not going to be true, because they did really do good flying the flag, you know what I mean, and keeping metal alive pretty much all throughout the 90s, So I figure, all things aside, that they've probably been okay with their money. But now this whole thing resurfaces where they may be going out with Metallica and opening for them. That just
So
seems
they
like
are, yeah, they're on there. They're coming to Minneapolis.
So what's that going to make a ticket? You got to fucking take a second mortgage out on your house to go see this thing? I mean, how do you go to this thing?
Yeah, it's like $500 for like
nosebleed, right?
Up top, yeah, and it's like 1,200 for the floor, at the U.S. Bank Stadium, and it's like that's just stupid, man. I mean, Jesus.
I mean, that's pushing it outside of the realm of where the typical, heavy metal fan, can afford.
I think it would be cool if they came out and did like just a club tour, like they used to.
That would be cool.
3,000 cap club or some shit.
Yeah, a more intimate setting.
Right up front and fucking do that. But they're on every fucking festival, every major festival in the U.S. and Europe. So it's like obviously it's a thing, and I'm not into it.
Yeah,
my personal. Allegedly, I don't like it.
You're a purist, allegedly.
You can't replace Dimebag Darrell. It'd be like, or Vinnie Paul, and then Zach and Charlie doing a great job.
Yeah,
but like I said, if it was called Cowboys from Hell, or like you said, Vulgar Display of Power, or something like that, or then I'd be into it. I think that's cool, but don't call it Pantera, man.
Yeah, you're right. You can't replace Dime, and if you could, you may have to go get the Polish Dime, who would be Vog, who is a phenomenal guitar player.
Polish Dime, yeah, Vog from Decapitated. Right?
I've had him on. Yeah, he's a great guy. And, but he has been called in a lot of music publications the Polish Dimebag.
He's a musical genius, that man.
Yes, yeah, he is. And now he landed the gig in Machine Head.
Oh, really?
He's the new guitarist in Machine Head. In the last album, it's no mistake. He's on it, and it's back to fucking awesome Machine Head. A very conceptual album. I think maybe he's the kick in the pants that Rob Flynn kind of needed to get the testosterone back, so to speak, in Machine Head.
Sure. Who was the guy that left?
It might have been Logan Mader or no, it was Phil Demmel. He went back to do Violence.
Yes. Phil Demmel, that's it.
Yeah, he went back to do Violence. Also, a legendary thrash band. So it isn't like you can really blame the guy. He wants to go back and kind of revisit something that he had done early in his life or whatever. And but the new Machine. I mean, with Vog there, man, holy fuck, the guy's a monster.
He's great. No, he's a musical genius. That dude.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what is next for you guys? I mean, after the holidays, is it studio? Is it back on tour?
Supposedly we're supposed to go to Mexico for a week. In January, and then we're gonna try and probably demo some stuff. We got some tunes. We could go to Virginia and demo some stuff. And then there's August. There's Europe tour. A bunch of festivals, like festival season. So we go out there, and that's all I know for right now.
How do I
don't find out until like a week before.
All this shit's so goddamn expensive. How do I just get a goddamn backyard fucking show? What do I got to shell out for that?
I don't know. I don't know anymore. I know when I get paid, and that's all I care about.
Yeah. I'll just get you just to come and just fucking sit next to my pool in the summer and just play drums.
There you go, bud. I'm in.
Yeah. I mean, shit, that sounds like a good time, right?
Right on.
So if people want to find out what the fuck you're doing, you're out there on all the platforms, right? I mean, you're out there doing your thing on Instagram, whatever the fuck these kids do nowadays.
I only got the Facebook. I can't even handle that motherfucker.
You're not big on the social media. I'm not. Yeah, that's all. I'm pretty much. I'm limited to Facebook.
Yeah, everyone asks, do you have a Twitter? Do you have this? Do you have a fucking whatever? It's like, I don't even know what that is, and no, I don't.
What's the best piece of it? I've been trying to end these on a note where they're also for educational purposes. The best piece of advice you've ever got. Share that with us, or that you could give. It doesn't even got to be about the music business, just in general, life advice.
My grandfather.
Okay.
Excuse me. Always had these things that he would say, and I didn't know what they meant until the older I got.
Okay.
And there was a couple of them that he would say, don't sweat the petty stuff.
Okay.
Pet the sweaty stuff.
Oh, that's a good one.
Isn't that a good one? And
yeah,
the other one was, don't worry about, I remember breaking up with this girl. I was in like fucking 5th grade or some shit. She destroyed my heart, my first love.
Yeah, that's when you needed advice.
He used to call me Krupa. He'd call me Krupa because I was playing drums back then, and he
Right.
the jazz guy says, "Krupa, come here." He goes, "You know what the cool thing is about dames?" And I go, "What?" He goes, "They make more of them."
I mean,
go, okay, and I didn't get it until like, oh yeah, they yep.
Right.
He's giving you. My heart broken again because they make more of them.
He's giving you a variation of the old, there's more fish in the sea.
That's it. Yeah, but he'd always say dames. You know them dames.
Yeah. Yeah, dames is a nice old school word. Nice old school word. I always like hearing those like old school, like how like old timers used to talk.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
And to beat the dames off with a stick.
Right. Who's pinching the hooch, huh? And his other, the last one was, if it has tits or wheels, it's gonna cost you money.
Oh, that's for sure true. Yeah,
and that's the fact.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Well, I mean, listen, man, I've been jamming out the solo album, dude, and I think it's absolutely amazing.
I appreciate it. I really do, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Is there going to be more solo stuff? Do you anticipate? You get it out of your system, or you want to do more of this?
Yeah, I'm going to do another one. I have it all written. I just have to go do it. Just have to get recording stuff together and fucking get it done. But I have the whole other album done.
Who's the greatest athlete to ever come out of Minnesota in any fucking sport?
Kirby Puckett.
Oh my God, a man after my own heart, man. Me and my son were just doing a we kind of chop it up at night on the phone a little bit while we partake of our smokable herb.
Sure.
He's outside at his house. I'm outside of mine. We put each other on speakerphone. Kind of feels like we're hanging out,
Right.
And we chop it up a little bit. And so sometimes we'll throw out these lists just out of nowhere. It's a little harder, man, when you got a buzz on to actually really, dig into the deep recesses of your brain. But he'll throw something out like top 5 greatest catchers of all time. Top 5 things that begin with the letter L. So the other day we had top five greatest center fielders of all time, and I took Kirby, and obviously he's only 28 years old, so he's like, okay, I'll trust you on that pick, but I don't know who that is. Boom! I had to go right to the highlights on YouTube and send him pictures because I remember Kirby being a little short, fat ass.
That's all he was, man.
He could scale that wall though and rob home runs.
Yep, and he crushed it too at a batter as well. And like during that time, we had Kent Herbeck and all those dudes too. Or just money. Dan
Kirby was hitting like 340 every year. I mean, and just making those ridiculous catches and winning batting titles.
And then he started hitting his wife, and everything went to shit.
Did he hit his wife?
He did. He went to jail for it.
Kirby did.
Kirby, that's what we have a saying in Minnesota where if someone misses something, you go, hit her with your good eye, Kirby.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I wonder if his batting average was higher with hitting women than the baseball.
Could be, maybe.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Allegedly.
He was found guilty of this, man. So I mean, I don't think we have to use allegedly then, do we?
No, we don't. No,
right. You're exempt, man. Well, hey, I mean, listen, man, it's been a ball. I knew it would be a ball chopping it up with you anyway.
Absolutely, brother.
I already knew. It's like how the kids say, man, you already know. I already knew, man. So yeah, hopefully maybe sometime in the beginning of next year we can hop on here. We can do this again, man. When you got something cooking and going on, and
absolutely appreciate it. I love it.
We'll stay in touch, man, and I'll send you a link when I put the episode up, and you can share it around. I'm trying to get Bobby on here, but the thing that the problem I've had with Bobby is, and he even FaceTimed me, and we spoke face to face, but he's apparently locked out of his Google account, and in order to get Google Meet, he has to have. He was having all kinds of Google technical problem shit on his end.
It's always something. Yeah, it's always something.
And so that's been the impediment, so to speak, man, as to why I haven't been able to get him. Certainly receptive to doing it. Was like, what about any other ways, Skype or this or that order? But the thing is, with the Google Meet, it's nice because it's audio and video, but I pay. It's not a lot, but for a plan each month that allows you to record. A lot of these places won't allow you to record what you're talking about. I mean, you could do a call, but to record, they're going to take a little bit of this from you. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Well,
yeah.
fuck
And
that.
it's not bad. It's only to the tune of like $8 or $10 a month. It's really, not that much. But the whole point is that it's like, going into it on Skype, I'm already all set up on here. You know what I mean?
Right,
It's
right.
It's quite the pain in the ass. But I appreciate you doing it, man, and being so generous with your time, man.
Sure,
Thanks.
dude. I appreciate you, man. You're a bad motherfucker. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, man, so much, man. And all the best to you and your family during the holidays, man. Enjoy.
You as well, brother.
Yeah, I'll talk to you soon, brother. Thank you so much, man.
You got it, bro.
All right. Later, man.
Bye-bye.
Later. There he goes, folks. That's my man, Minnesota Pete Campbell, on the drums, ladies and gentlemen. He is the drummer for a badass little band that you might know as Pentagram, led by the fantastic and polarizing Bobby Liebling. They are, of course, doom stoner metal legends from way back in the day. And now they got old Minnesota Pete back there on the kit. So that's pretty much all they need. Good dude, man. Good episode. Had a lot of fun chopping it up with him. Hope you guys dug it. And until next time, remember to keep it easy. Wait a minute, Mark. You're smoking too much of that wacky weed. Look, I'm not even referring myself to as Rex anymore. I'm losing my mind. Whew. Take a breather there, man. You meet a guy like Minnesota Pete and your kindred spirits, and all of a sudden you're all tongue-tied. Okay, folks. Podscum audience, the farewell. Take 2. Remember, guys, take it easy and keep it sleazy.